All right. A day in the life, a day in my life. A day in the life of a legend named Larry. I've got coincidences to talk about. Don't be scary. And just because I saw an omen, you might think I'm joking, but I don't really care. It's just something that I noticed. Now, this is how I do this when checking a grip. All of these instances are spooky. Please don't trip. 10-9 on my mind. I was fine, I thought, until I started waking at 10-9 on the dot multiple times, and then it hit me. These numbers keep coming to visit me. Even when I bought a plane or a train ticket, my seat would be in row 10 or 9 respectively. Cut to that day at Addis Ababa University, learning Ethiopian history. I went to the bathroom on the second floor. I looked up and saw 109 written on the door. And who knew? Even my cousin said Inca spirits would meet me in Peru. One day, I hiked up Machu Picchu, only to look at my clock watch at 10:08. I knew that a minute later, I should make my descent to stay within tradition, so I did. In Saudi Arabia, I hailed a cab, and when it came near, the license plate read 10-9, and it had me feeling weird. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare, but I thought to myself, nah, forget it, your home's to Bel Air. Like, cut. Forgot the rest.
You're at 109 right now.
Number 5, come on, couple hours. Yeah. So bring the beat in.
La Russell.
That shit crazy.
Vallejo's finest.
Hey, black boy, gon' get your shine on.
That's me.
Can do anything you put your mind on. They
I know
can't
that.
Do it if they ain't do it. Trying to convince a nigga who done did it.
That's
they
right.
Said I couldn't get this far without a distro.
Take that, take that, take that.
Platinum like Cisco, made it from the backyard and still in this bitch.
That's right.
Childhood home, I was lil in this bitch. Went through it, I can tell you how to do it. Niggas look gas, I can tell they out of fluid. Made it this far off work, 100 off merch, super color for the transfer on the shirt.
That's right.
You know what I'm worth, baby. You ain't gotta go into your purse. You can set your own pace when you burst. Got it out
Number
the
one.
dirt. Probably find mud in my hearse. His prices can tell you what it's worth.
You're at 109 right now.
GC shirt. That's my uniform, bitch. I'm finna go to work. All-terrain Crocs in a GC shirt. That's my uniform, bitch. I'm finna go to work. Ha, black boy, gon' get your shine on. Could do anything you put your mind on. They probably can't do it if they ain't do it. Trying to convince a nigga who done did it. Ha, what? Trying to convince a nigga who done did it. They probably can't do it if they ain't do it.
Yeah.
Oh God, hey, they said I couldn't get this far without a distro. Finna go platinum like Cisco. Ha, it's not the same. We outside. Woo! Album number 109, nigga.
You're at 109 right now.
Oh God, we gonna go for a twofer. Come on, what we doing?
Well, today is 2/22/2023. 2/22. It's a Wednesday, and the verdict has been read. Eric Holder, Nipsey Hussle's killer, was sentenced to 60 years in prison. So there was a comment. There was a comment made somewhere on Slossing Girls' Instagram page. Someone mentioned, they said, kind of interesting. They said Nipsey died at 33, and what else? He was killed by a Judas, He was doing the work to heal his community and, to improve lives. And there was one other detail. I can't remember it at the moment, and I don't want to play around with my cell phone. Well, let me go ahead and let me actually do it. I hope it still records. Yes, it's still recording. All right. Let me find that from Sloshing Girl. Come on. All right, well, while this is loading, while I'm waiting for this to load, and I'm getting a no internet connection signal. Anyhow, the point here is that people are making the connections. People are already wait a minute. It's not like it's something new. All of this is very it was very apparent. If you're rich, if you're removed from, the experience, if you're in your own fantasy world, you may not have seen it the way that so many people have seen it, which is you see, biblical stories playing themselves out in regular life. 33-year-old, a death at 33 years old, betrayed by a Judas, walking among the poor, spreading the word, sharing, improving the community against the oppressive state. All of this stuff, all of these parallels between the life of Jesus Christ that we've learned in the Bible and the life of Nipsey Hussle. It's a phenomenal, parallel, and it's real. And then the huge coincidence that folks are talking about is that his killer, Nipsey's killer, Eric Holder, is sentenced to 60 years, 60 years. That's even, a bizarre coincidence. You have to wonder, did they all agree upon this number because of its relevance to the city of Los Angeles, to the relevance of this case with regards to it being these men being members of that gang, being that number is synonymous with so much of this case. The one thing that people are not thinking about is that the number 60 was the base of the Babylonian number system that might go over everyone's heads. But number 60, that was the basis of the Babylonian number system. And they did that by, multiplying 12 by 5 to arrive at 60. And they were able to use not only their fingers to count, but they also used the divisions in their fingers. So that's 1, 2, and 3. 3 divisions, 3 parts to the finger, right? Where the knuckle is, 1, 2, and 3. 3 separations, in the fingers. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, and then 15, right? So 15 and 15 equals 30, right? Well, that's only 30. I'd have to find the video that shows how they were able to, let me see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I don't know, I saw it described in a video once, but they were able to count, or maybe they were able to multiply until to 60 using their fingers. The Babylonians did. We use our fingers as wholes. That's just 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5. But the Babylonians were able to multiply or count up to 60 using their fingers. It's a fascinating truth. The Babylonian number system. So, oh yeah. So the news was released earlier today, an hour or two ago, and what I found interesting about this information being released, I had no idea that the information was, I don't think anyone had any idea that today would be the day that he would be sentenced and that this information would be released to the public. I had no idea. But here's something that happened to me. I was sleeping last night and I woke up at 1:09 a.m. I checked my phone and it happened again. It's happened to me a number of times where I woke up at 1:09 a.m. and it happened last night. And I had no understanding of why. I didn't understand why that happened or for what reason, but it did happen. And then when I came to school today, the school where I work, where I'm a substitute teacher, I came to the school today, and in the first period, or it was actually a second period class on a Wednesday, during that period, I talked with the students about 1:09, and I told them that I woke up at 1:09 a.m. and I told them all of these things about my experiences. But the one thing in particular that I told them is that I told them the story. Oh no, so I understood something about this story, and I told them, hey guys, I understand why I keep seeing the numbers 10 and 9. Specifically when I see these numbers on a train, if I'm being assigned a seat on a train, I often am assigned to a seat in row 10 or 9. So I told the students I understand why. I rationalized that because I'm not picky about which seat or which row, that I sit in. I usually get seated in the middle of the train, which is where row 10 and 9 are usually on the train. If you imagine the train to have about 20 rows, then in the middle there is row 10. So I thought about it and I said, well, you know what? Because I don't care where I sit, I'm ushered to where people do not sit, or where people rarely choose to sit, and that's in the middle. And then I rationalized the reason being is because people want to sit closest to the exits, and the exits are those very small numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then those larger numbers. Let's say if there are 20 rows in the car, then it's 20, 19, 18, 17, for instance, that are nearest the exits. But there I am, I don't care. And because other people have chosen to sit near the exits, I sit where there are plenty of seats, and that's usually in the middle, which is row 10. So I rationalized that. I came to that conclusion this morning, and I told the students that. And then when I was finished, that led into a little bit of a discussion about the numbers that I see. Of course, 10, 9. And then that led into the students sharing with me their experiences and telling me about how they see numbers as well. So there was a mutual exchange, and one student, tomorrow I'm going to get the book. I'm going to get my book 109, and I'm going to share that copy with the student if I see him, if he sees me. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give him that copy because he was curious. He said, well, how do I get a copy of your book? What's the moral of the story? Tell me more, and all of this. And so I'm excited to share the story with him. So I'll definitely give him a copy, and hopefully the story will resonate with him. But the whole point of talking about this is I saw 109 last night. I woke up at that hour, and then today, out of the blue, we get this news about Nipsey's killer. That's a coincidence for you right there. A huge coincidence. I would love to share that with the students next week. Tell them, listen, you know, there was a part of me that said, you know what, I need to tell these students about the connections between 109 and Nipsey. I wanted to tell them. I wanted to go and tell them, hey, this is what the story of 109 is about. But I held back. I held back from doing that. And that would have been a crazy coincidence to experience or to have that information released on the same day that I would have shared all of that information about that story. This would have been just like the day, sadly, coincidentally, the students were talking about a school shooting, and then later that evening, that is exactly what happened. It's not the same thing, but it's close enough in relation to it. But, you know, all good vibes are only good vibes, and positivity, good vibes only, positivity, speak positivity, positivity and positively. All right. Yeah. All right. So that's it. Peace.